Thank you, Christine. Each year, students wishing to represent their colleagues at this ceremony submit their speeches anonymously to a committee of classmates, which selects one speech for presentation. It's my pleasure to introduce Jacob Lentz, who will speak on behalf of the class of 2015. Mr. Lentz was born and raised in Minnesota. He won a scholarship to a military high school where he graduated as valedictorian. He was a member of the state championship swimming team, on the math and chess team, was student body president, and while in high school earned his Eagle Scout rank. Way to go. Mr. Lentz attended Harvard, graduated magna cum laude with a degree in government and minors in economics and sociology. He wrote for the Harvard Lampoon. After college, he became a writer for the Jimmy Kimmel Live show, eventually becoming the monologue writer. Jacob, where were you when I was trying to write all this for today? Now we learn about it. In medical school, he's distinguished himself academically in service and in research. In his first year, he became a mentor to a pediatric cancer patient. He introduced this mentee to several of his heroes. He taught him how to drive. He was a proud guest at the young man's high school graduation. Also, Mr. Lentz spent his spring break during his third year in Haiti on a medical mission trip. Mr. Lentz will pursue residency training in emergency medicine here at UCLA. You don't want to switch to radiology?
No, that would be, wow.
Okay,
I'm okay.
It's all yours.
I'm on a tremendous number of beta blockers right now. So I had a bunch of jokes at the opening of my speech in the first draft, and they were all about how I'm actually not going to do a residency, and instead I'm going to take the MD that I will now have, and I'm going to get myself a job on Grey's Anatomy. But that's not true. But they asked me to cut 2 minutes for time so everyone can get out of here in some kind of reasonable fashion and my family can get to the IHOP. So here's the speech. Today I'd like to talk to you about the brain. When I came to medical school, I thought the brain was pretty uninteresting. But, and this is why we paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition, the brain is actually one of the most important parts of the body. Top 5, easy. The brain is fascinating because for the past 3 months, we've all been looking back fondly on our years here. We remember a wonderful time of laughter and mirth. But the truth is that medical school was mostly terrible. There was always more work to be done. There was always another assignment. There was always something else we were expected to do and someone who'd be judging us. And we never really had enough time to do all of it. And we all sensed in our bones that if we let up for a minute, we wouldn't be able to keep the plate spinning. It was confusing and it was exhausting. Yet now we are certain that it was fun. Why is that? It's because our brains have blocked it out. Our brains have blocked out the times we felt dumb, the times we felt defeated and hopeless. Zap, our brains removed all that. So what does that mean for us on this day? It means that next year, when we're doing a 24-hour call, and we can't see straight, and we're doing a lot of emotional eating, we can take comfort in the knowledge that someday in the future, we will look back with absolute certainty that it was actually tons of fun. Things pass, we block out the bad, and we can keep going much further than we ever think we'd be able. But some of it we need to hold on to. Some of it we can't let our brains block out. We need to remember how we felt when we were third years, how we were lost and we couldn't even figure out where the bathroom was, let alone when someone would give us a chance to use it. We need to hold on to that feeling when we have confused patients or family members or even medical students. We need to use that to make ourselves better. Our brains hold the keys to greatness, and they also have the seeds of our downfalls. Now that you are doctors, you will face the question that all adults eventually face, and that is deciding what it is that you will choose to think about. As smart as we are, we have limited mental bandwidth. Your choice will be where that bandwidth goes. Whether you will spend your mental energy on Facebook and Instagram and hashtagging your indignance and food trucks and the right chairpersonship at the right hospital and your petty grievances, or whether you will spend your mental energy on your patients, on learning more, and on the colleagues and subordinates who need a little help and have nothing to offer you in return. You have to choose, because your brain's bandwidth is limited, and I'd encourage you to monitor it. And the brain is funny because the areas where we think our brains are deficient may in fact be the very best parts of ourselves. This is truly the most impressive group of people I have ever known. And I know celebrities. I'm constantly amazed by the raw intellectual candle power in our class. And the thing that I myself am most proud of for me is that I was able to keep up with all of you. I believe that someone in our class will do something that changes medicine. One of us, not me obviously, so one of you, will change the world. And I suspect that the person who does will be a bit of a surprise, because there is as much to be said for not being the best as there is for being the best. I certainly don't want to take anything away from the best students in our class, but there is a tremendous strength in imperfection. When you have already in your life tried your best and not won the prize, you realize that failure and humiliation are big nothings. They cannot hurt you. When you come up short, you realize that you're going to have to go another path, and that the accolades that seemed so important for so long were written on water. And then you get creative, and though you may well fail horribly, but just fine, it may also change everything forever. So to all of you who have ever felt that you didn't measure up, you may actually have the advantage. Abraham Lincoln, William T. Sherman, and Ulysses S. Grant were all failures in different ways before the Civil War. And I mean like drunken bankruptcy level failures. But when the right politicians and generals were letting the country slip away, these flawed, psychologically troubled people came in, and they saved the Union. They turned out to be the real leaders, which is important because you all want to be leaders in medicine. But what do you know about leadership? Some of you are good, and some of you are pretty good managers, but what do you know about leading? If you have never asked your classmate, Jeremy Smith, how you take an inflatable raft of 8 armed 20-year-old American sailors and board and search a Chinese freighter in the Persian Gulf without causing an international incident, you have not been a student of leadership. You've been learning management. Leadership is much harder. The one thing that I know is true about leadership is that it comes down to trust. I learned that from Colin Powell, who learned it from his drill instructor at the infantry school at Fort Benning. His drill instructor said to him, "Lieutenant, you will know you're a good leader when people follow you, if only out of curiosity." Who will follow you out of curiosity? What are you doing to earn people's trust? If the answer is not much, then why would anyone follow you? Why would anyone's brain tell them to believe in where you say you want to go? And the brain isn't good at digesting long speeches by elderly medical school graduates. Your brain will remember maybe one thing from this. So I thought very hard about the one thing I wanted to tell you. And it's something that was said by an English teacher at my high school. Treat your fellow humans gently. What is certain is that we're all very smart, and we're going to have perfectly lovely careers. What is still to be seen is whether we can treat our fellow humans gently. Whether we will be able to channel the vast sea of empathy in which we've all been swimming for so long into the simple verities of kindness, decency, and fairness. Just do that much, be gentle, and you will make the massive investment that society has made in you more than worth it. I will stop now, but as the old man, I feel I have the right to tell you that I'm painfully, sickeningly proud of all of you. I'm very excited to see what you'll do. Thank you so very much for having me.
Thank you, Jacob. That was excellent. Enjoy that IHOP tonight. We'll get you there in time for the senior discount. The Stafford L. Warren